Do you ladies know when the first video game was invented?
I do not.
Uh, I want to actually say we did talk about this one time in one of my college courses, but
I
oh
was
my
Hmm.
god,
gonna say, but
it was such a long time ago. I don't remember. No, yeah.
Really? You
I
guys
want to
talked about it?
say
hmm
in, I'm pretty sure I'm wrong about this. I want to say it was somewhere between the 50s and the 80s. Okay, yes, I know it's a big ass gap, but the reason
Wow.
I say 50s, because
Yeah.
like the reason I say in the 50s, like I mean early, maybe mid 50s, is because I want to say like they say it was like a simple like one game like kind of something like similar to like Tetris, but like not exactly
Mhm.
Tetris, but like it was something like simple like that.
Mhm.
I don't remember.
Okay. Well, yes. At first you did a huge gap, but you're right. It was in the 50s.
Oh, I was right.
So I just literally Googled when were video games invented, and it said in October 1958, physicist William Higginbotham, I'm probably
I
not
think
saying that last name right, but
Hi, bud.
created what is thought to be the first video game. It was a very simple tennis game similar to the classic 1970s video game Pong, and it was quite a hit at a Brookhaven National Laboratory open house.
Hmm.
But so this is when the first video game was invented, and then but I feel like it started really taking off 70s, 80s, and then obviously I think the 80s was really huge for gaming.
hmm
No, yeah.
So today's topic is one of my favorite topics. I love talking about this. I cannot get enough of this. But it's the simulation theory. The simulation
I believe
theory.
that 100%. We
I'm
are in a
50-50 on
simulation.
that, to be honest. Like, don't get me wrong. I think there are times where I do feel like, okay, yeah, that could be it. But then other times when it's like, no, like I feel like it's disproven or like in moments, certain moments, you know?
Hmm.
Well, I don't know if you all remember, like, do you all remember when when was the first time that you even thought about this? Because for me, the first time that that little worm was planted in my mind was when I watched the movie, and you reminded me about it, actually, Masika. There was a movie in 1999 called The 13th Floor. And when I watched it, because that's literally what it is, you know, in that movie, it's where they are living in a simulation. They're living in a simulation, but they don't know, you know. And then obviously, as the movie progresses, they find out, and it's a really good movie. It's crazy, and I am a big believer of they have to tell us, they have to put it out there, and I feel like that is an example of something that they put out there for us to kind of like, I guess, for us to know.
hmm
I feel like that's the case with that movie. I feel that that's the case with the Truman Show because the Truman Show is kind of the same. We talked about Simone,
Mm-hmm.
and remember the writer producer of the movie Simone and the Truman Show are the same person. But was the first time? Do you guys remember? Like, or I mean, you don't have to pinpoint it, but kind of like the first time that you heard of it, and that perhaps you thought, maybe we are.
The, the first time that I heard of it was definitely from you, but for me, when I would, honestly, it's gonna probably be like, um, I don't know how like how people will probably say like, oh, like, oh, it's crazy or whatever, but ever since I was little, I want to say around between 7 till now, like I would have my moments when I was like so young, like I'd be like questioning like is this all real? Like are we even real? Like is this life? Is this really life? Like I would question because like as a kid, like I would try to think, I'll try to think back to my earliest memory. And from there, like, I wouldn't remember much else. And I know people say, like, oh, as a baby, you wouldn't remember anything. But I don't know, because to me, like, my earliest memory, I just, like, somehow remember just, like, opening my eyes and I'm just like, okay, I'm here living my life, whatever. Like, having fun as a kid, as a 3, 4-year-old, and without a care in the world. But like there would be moments in my life where I'd be like, do I remember just waking up like that, or is it just like I questioned a lot. I think as I got older, like it would become slightly less, but I would still have my moments like in life. I would still think like this still doesn't like feel real at times.
And I think you were one of the ones.
Hello? Damn, are you guys
was
cut?
getting off. Oh no. It cut off, I think.
Yeah, you guys are getting cut off. Damn it.
Oh, it says that she just cut off. Oh.
It got her kicked out?
Oh, okay, now I hear you.
I don't hear her yet. It takes a minute for me.
Music doesn't hear you yet. Ah, man. What is up with the Wi-Fi?
The Wi-Fi demands a sacrifice.
I can hear her now.
I can hear you now too. So, quick, explain what you're gonna say earlier.
No, I was just saying that I remember when you brought that up about the first memories of when you're a kid, and we were talking about that, and I agree. I think that when we're kids, right, we still have that innocence in us. But I don't know about you all, how you felt, but I always felt like I knew something, like there was a there was this big secret or this big something that I needed to discover. I've always felt like that. Like always. That's honestly since I can remember, since I was a kid. And I remember I have this really vivid memory of seeing, this is gonna sound totally bizarre, but I could see, like as a child, and I'm talking about maybe about 5, 6 years old. I remember seeing everybody, it's gonna sound so funny, like blobs. Literally like blobs. Like, what is that ghost called from Ghostbusters? Oh, Slimer. You know how Slimer looks? Okay. That is literally how, in my mind, I don't even know how that happened, but I have this memory where I thought, this is our vessel. I didn't know the word for vessel, but it was kind of like, this is like, I knew from then on that it was separate. Like, it was our body, and then like our soul, or our consciousness, I should say, our consciousness was another one. At like 5 years old. And I've always wondered, I think Noodles and I have talked about this, where I said, I think I've always wondered, do other kids have these thoughts? Because I don't feel like they do, but I feel like some do. And especially now, like the children that have been from 2000 and on, I feel anybody who's been born, definitely it's another kind of humans that are being born. So maybe those children have. But I don't know, like, did you guys ever, like, can you guys imagine a 5-year-old being aware of that?
I cannot. I mean, I could see them maybe asking questions like that because maybe they heard it somewhere, but like for them themselves, no, yeah, like they either had to be really deep into the thought of that, or like something had to have happened to make them think that way.
Right.
I mean, kids are just automatically like curious, so I can see where maybe not all kids, but some kids would probably question, like, what are we? What is this? What are we doing here? 'Cause I know
Right.
when I was a kid, I would question too. Like, I would be over here like, I wonder what all of this is about.
Yeah. Yeah. When did you first hear about the simulation theory, Noodles, or you first came aware of it?
Uh, I'm not exactly sure when, but I think it probably started back when I first started playing Sims. And I think you and I talked about it because after a while, we started joking like, oh, our handler is like taking away our tasks, so now we don't remember what we're doing. And we would joke around a lot like that. But I think throughout that time is when I kind of was like, like maybe we're not like we're joking, but maybe it's not a joke. What if we are? And then I think we watched we've seen The Matrix, which got me thinking even more because
Mm-hmm.
like if, especially later on in life that you find out like, oh, well, everything's made up of numbers, like
Right.
IRL, like in real life, like everything has to do with numbers, which makes me think of like, yeah, that's what is a what is a program besides numbers, like.
Yeah.
So then that got me like, oh my god, like this is real. This.
Yeah. So I looked it up. I wanted to know, okay, so when did the simulation theory get started? Like, because I've heard it, I've seen videos, I've read articles about it, so this isn't unique. We're not the only people that have talked about this or think about this. And before I had looked it up, I want to say that I had seen some videos on YouTube saying that I believe there was a man, there was like a press conference in the 70s, and he came out and he said it. And they kind of laughed at him, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
can't find anything about that. So I don't know. But this is what came up when I Googled, like, when did the simulation theory begin?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this is so wrong. This is what I found. It says the simulation theory or simulation hypothesis was first proposed in 2003 by Oxford University philosopher Nick Bostrom. His simulations argument suggests that it's highly likely that we live in a computer simulation. However, the idea that our reality is a simulation has been around for some time. 1986, Robert M. Gordon published two articles that are considered the origins of the simulation theory. 1989, physicist John Archibald Wheeler suggests that the universe is mathematical and can be seen as emerging from information. He coined the phrase "it from bit." So this has me kind of confused as well because I'm pretty sure that it has been around longer than 1986.
Mhm.
I
Definitely.
mean, yeah, and then over here where it says it was first proposed in 2003, it's like, okay, but the movies have been coming out about it. So I don't understand why this says like that, which makes me think again, like they kind of want us to find out, but then they don't.
Right.
Yeah.
The simulation theory, really quick. I guess we should explain what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the simulation theory is basically saying that we live in a simulation. We're living in I guess in a computer, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So when I first, like, the more, not when I first, the more that we go on, the more that I live, I feel like the more that this, for me, it's kind of, I'm leaning more towards that.
Mm-hmm.
Because the other day, and I feel like this was the first time that I feel like I had a breakthrough that day when we were talking about it, Noodles and I. And then we shared it with you, Musica, which you really didn't say anything, so I don't know if you were just kind of like, they're dumb. or, or you were just like, they're too high right now.
I
But,
I did think a little bit maybe like, okay, they smoked a little too much. But I mean, I also thought like, okay, it's the regular talk because like you guys do talk about it a lot.
yeah, well, okay, so this is what's got me, right? I was thinking about this. Again, we said there's a lot of movies, there's a lot of shows about this. Black Mirror, there's an episode in Black Mirror, kind of, where they talk about, the simulation theory as well. There's one of my favorite episodes, which I think it's one of the highest rated episodes. Like, it's not just mine, it's everyone's. The one where, oh my God, I don't remember the name, but it's where they, out in the real world, if they get sick or they're about to die, they can put their consciousness into this, I forget what it's called, but it starts off with this girl and then she falls in love with this another girl, and I think it's San Juniper or something like that.
Yeah, it's like
Um,
a retirement home for them, right?
right, yeah. And they, when they die, they put their consciousness into this simulation world, and they live like if, it feels like the real world. So I was thinking about that, and then I started thinking about the games now, right? Because, well, one of my favorite games is definitely Conan, but and I feel like Conan, like I love the aesthetic of it. I feel that a lot of it is realistic. Like it looks, I could see myself that if I had a VR set, I could immerse myself in it and it would look real.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so I started thinking, okay, but now let's think about, because this is when I started asking, like, when did video games get invented, right? Because, all right, 1958, but that was a really simple game, right? They were saying it's a game like of tennis, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's been what, 70, 70 years now that games have been invented. So think of how they look now,
Yeah.
of how far. I mean, my first recollection, again, I'm Gen X, my first recollection was literally the first Nintendo. And I remember the game of it was a shooting ducks. And whenever you would miss or whatever, that stupid little dog would pop up and laugh at you and just mock you. I mean, this is when I was a child.
I forgot about
And
that game.
yeah, and I don't think like in my wildest dreams, I never imagined gaming what it is now back when I was a kid.
Yeah.
It's not a big, I mean, we as humans, like we think like, whoa, 30, 40 years ago, that was a long time. But if you really think about it, look at how advanced video games look now.
Mm-hmm.
So now, can you imagine how they're gonna look 50 years from now?
They're gonna look super real.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then take it a step further and picture it 100 years from now. How are games gonna look in the year 21, 24? And so on and so on, in 150 years from now, and 200 years from now. So when I think in that sense, it doesn't sound so crazy that this could be a simulation, because if we're in a simulation, in our world, in this simulation, we're in the year 2024. But going by the Matrix, how do we know? What if this really isn't the year 2024? And a lot of people have talked about that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So what if we are in a simulation? It's just a hyper realistic game because it's already so advanced.
Freaky thought. But I can tell you, when I kind of had a little, how do you call it?
Epiphany, thought, stroke. I don't know.
Stroke.
I guess like an epiphany.
Damn.
Yeah, I heard of what's called sky ice. And after hearing about that, that's what really got me to be like, holy crap, this is a simulation.
Hmm.
But because hearing about the sky ice, it also brought up like, oh, like you know how there's the people who believe that Earth is flat, it's not
Mhm.
round.
Yeah.
So this kind of plays into that. But let me tell you a little bit about it. So sky ice is ice, but instead of it melting into a liquid, it melts into like a gas, I guess, like air, because there's
You
more
need to
oxygen.
start from the beginning. Where's Sky Ice? Like, where can I get some if I want some? Can I get
Okay,
some if
well,
I
look,
wanted
look,
some?
look, look. I said this in the beginning. I don't have all the information because the clip that I found this, it was a while back.
Oh, that's right.
So I don't have a lot of the information anymore, unfortunately. But you guys can look it up. It's called, just look up Sky Ice. And it's basically like, it's a huge iceberg that they found that is basically endless. Like they try to go around it, they try to go over it, they try to go under it, and like they really can't like interact with it as much. There was a team of scientists that went to go and study this ice because they realized, like, because they were trying to take samples from it, but every time they would take a little piece and walk away, the ice would just evaporate.
Mhm.
So they're like, what the hell? So they had to study it there. And when they were studying it, they made a small cavern for them to like work around basically. And they had their equipment and stuff in there. And but while they were there, they started realizing that the cave itself was like forming in on itself again. So they had to quickly grab everything and run out before they got trapped in the ice.
Mhm.
So like this ice is basically like a barrier. They can't really go in it. And if they do, they have to quickly come out because it automatically forms again.
So, I mean, I know you said that this you don't have the video, but now I'm wondering, like, so there's no way, like, they don't know what's on the other side?
Yeah, when I first heard about this, they didn't have any idea. Like they don't know like how to get through it basically.
Can they fly over it? Do you know?
I think that say they've tried, but they can only go so far before they have to turn around.
See, that is what's so freaky,
Hmm.
right? I
Yeah.
remember when you first told me that, I was like on full on simulation meltdown.
Yeah, I was freaking the hell out because I'm over here like, what the hell is this? Like, to me, it sounds like the barrier you hit at the end of your game. Conan, for example,
Hmm.
this game that we're on right now.
Right.
There's only so much in the map that we can explore, that we can go before we
Mhm.
see this green shimmer that's a wall that if you try to go past it, you die
Right.
and you
Yeah.
Yeah.
respawn back into your world.
Right.
That's kind of how I see this ice, where it's like this is the barrier for us. Like that's the wall we can't pass.
Right.
But it also makes me think, like, because of course I did a deep dive into this, and I was like, oh my god, I need to know more. And then it took me to another video where it was showing about um, these divers that went into our oceans and then found a pocket of like this other looking water. And when they tried to go dive into it, that they couldn't, that their submarine kept bouncing off of it.
Oh God.
And so me, I'm like, yeah, like that's another fucking barrier. That we can only go so much down in our ocean, and there's still so much that we don't know about it, you know?
Right.
So to me, I'm like, these are barriers in our simulation, I guess, that we just can't pass.
Right.
But
Well, yeah, because we don't know. I mean, let's just assume, right? For example, the movie, there's so many movies, you guys, that with this theory. What's that movie with Ryan Reynolds where he's an NPC?
Oh, free
Free
guy.
Guy.
Free Guy, right? You know how in Free Guy, like, they each have their own little job that they have to do, right?
Hmm.
Mhm.
And they're NPCs and okay, so assuming let's just think for a little bit that that's how this is, right? Like, so let's stick with Conan.
Hmm.
Yeah, we don't know how that barrier looks to the people, to the NPCs from Conan. And again, the theory here that I'm proposing, or I don't know if it's been like again, what if because we are thinking the year 2024 and we're thinking in the way that our laws are here right now.
Hmm.
But again, Conan is set in what time period, you know?
Hmm.
The games, a lot of the games that Ark is set in what time period, you know? So this simulation, they could have said it, okay, let's just start it from whatever, I don't know, the year zero. Because
Hmm.
that's another thing. I mean, look at the way our calendars are. They don't make sense.
That's true.
Okay, let's start it from this year. But out there, what year is it? Like, this could just be a super advanced world.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Then I
I
demand the
think,
cheat code.
well, and then here's the thing, right? Think about the Mandela effect. We've talked about the Mandela effect, and I know there's a lot of people who don't believe in the Mandela effect, but even if you don't believe in it, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It doesn't mean it's not there.
Right.
Hmm.
And I feel like the Mandela effect is another example of this because how it's when they do an update, every time we update Fortnite, for example, something is different. Every time we update any game, what's the reason for updating? Because they're adding new stuff to the game, right? Or even if it's a little bit that they're changing, we need to update it.
Hmm.
So I'm thinking, okay, well, what if that's what the Mandela effect is? Like, it's because we do upgrades, they update the system, but some of us, for some reason,
Just remember
re
it.
yeah,
I could see that. Oh, hello?
Hmm?
yeah, no,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
No,
I was
yeah,
like,
sorry,
did
it's
something
just
happen? Like everyone got silent.
No, I'm just thinking about that, how, because one of the things for me, for the Mandela effect that it kind of shocked me, was two things, was the body and the maps, right? So
Mhm.
the way that I remember, and again, I'm not the only person, some of our organs, and keep in mind, I've always loved to learn about the body. Like growing up, we had encyclopedias, and I would always be reading through those like all the time. And I would look up the biology section, and okay. And I do have a little bit of a medical background, and I just always remember, for example, the kidneys always being in your lower back. But if you look at it now, the kidneys are almost behind your ribs, your rib cage now. That's not how I was taught that it was. I'm trying to think of, because there's so many other things about the organs, that I wasn't prepared to talk about this right now, but there's so many other things that I've seen where medical professionals have done videos about this, that, oh, that's not where we were taught that this was at. So that's changed. And then if
Mhm.
you go back and you look at whatever books you have or anything that you've had, like physical, I'm not talking about in the internet, because the internet obviously can be changed, but I'm
Mhm.
talking about like a physical book that you have in your home that you've had for years. And then you go and you look at it, and it's different there for how you remember it.
mm-hmm.
It happened with the maps. We always said, like in my universe, the South America was always directly below the US and Canada. And
Mhm.
I'm talking about these books, like I said, that I spent my whole childhood looking through these books and looking through maps and everything. So I remember that. Now, if I go and I look at those same books, the map is different.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. A lot of people with the Bernstein Bears, we clearly remember seeing it one way, but you go and you look back at your books and they're different.
Mhm.
And that is one thing that I think we struggle with trying to explain to your dad, because your dad would say like, well, yeah, of course they changed it because of the internet, but it's okay. But no, what about the physical
It hasn't been to
posters?
our books.
Exactly. How were they able to change that? And
Mhm.
the only thing I can think about is where, and they do upgrades, and that's how things change, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's one of those like there's so many things going on in this world as well that has me questioning because look, let's go to like TV shows. The Ghost
Hmm.
Adventures, Ghost Hunters.
Yeah.
Like what if these are think of like when you're playing Sims or any other game. You have those packs where it's like, oh, you if you buy this, you can have ghosts in your universe. If you buy this, there will be
Right.
dinosaurs in your universe. Like, what if it's something like that?
Yeah.
People who claim to have seen Bigfoot. What if that's like a pack? Like, I
That
know it
they
sounds
added.
silly, yeah,
No,
but
yeah.
like
Oh, like with
us
the
that
Loch Ness
we're
monster,
witches.
Nessie.
Yes, exactly.
Hmm.
Like there are so many like things that not everyone believes, but some people believe, and then some that say like, "Oh, we haven't seen it, but we believe it," or even us as witches that we're able to do things and actually
Hmm.
see it happen. And everyone might sit here and be like, "Oh, they're crazy, claiming that they're witches or whatever," but like we've seen it, we know it.
Right.
Others who practice know it. So it's like I feel like yeah, like it could be explained by saying this is a simulation.
So, when going by what Musica said earlier, like, well, where are the cheat codes, right? Where are the cheat codes? Um, I agree. Where are the cheat codes?
Hmm. Where can I find them?
I've talked about people who are super wealthy, like the super wealthy, like the billionaires, right? And in my mind, I can't fathom having that much money and not helping out more. I know that it always, oh, so and so donated, so many, so and so, okay, great. But if you really think about it, just here in the US, the big billionaires that we have, what, it's Musk, Bezos,
Hmm.
and what's that guy's name from Facebook? I always forget his name. Mark
Zuckerberg?
Zuckerberg. Right.
Yeah.
Just those three men, their combined wealth, we could all, they could build houses for all of us. There would be no need for like any shortages with just the combined wealth that these three men have. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm just talking about the US. I mean, there's so many other billionaires around the world.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, because I
And
remember we actually did look up one time, like, we were curious, like, how many billionaires were there in the U.S., and then we looked up in the world. No, we looked up in the, what was it? I think we did it in the UK, Canada, India, and what else?
I
I
don't
have no idea.
remember.
Oh, yeah, but then eventually we did the world and find out that ours are like a worldwide billionaires. I want to say like in the U.S. like we're in third place.
Yeah. Okay, so now think about it, right? Why aren't these people helping more? 'Cause
Mm-hmm.
I don't want, I mean, I refuse to believe, I don't want to think that all of these people really are just greedy, and because we've talked about this, you reach a certain level of money status, not even a billionaire, but $500 million. Anything over $500 million, I think that you've won the game. You've won. But
Yeah.
then we were thinking, in talking, I feel like, well, what if these billionaires, right? I'm doing air quotes. What if they are the NPCs? What if there's two things. Either they are NPCs and they're just here. It's like, again, think of a game, and there's always like, these NPC. Think of what is that name? The game in GTA,
Mm-hmm.
where oh God, I'm gonna get so much slack for this because I don't remember the names. But there's that boss that he owns like the auto shops and the car lots and everything,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
right? He's an NPC and he's got the money and he's the boss, but he's an NPC. So
Yeah.
it's the same thing I think about out here. Like these people, they have to either they are the NPCs and they're put here for that, or they found the cheat codes. They found the cheat codes to the simulation, and that's why they're where they're at. I mean, we've been playing for several years now, and when we're playing in a game, how many times? I mean, I know I've come across people that, for example, GTA. I know because my nephew, he has, he used to play a lot, and he would tell me like, oh yeah, I got the wait, are they called cheat codes? What are they called? Hacks or
Yeah. Like he
Yeah.
got
like he
like
was able yeah, like
yeah.
he was able to get money and like these cars and stuff, and he would tell me like, look, we could do it, like, but how many people really share that knowledge with you in the gaming world? They have to be they're either your close friend or whatever that will really share, oh, this is how you can get ahead in this game or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So now think about it out here. If these people found the cheat codes to get where they're at, they're not going to share it with everyone else because they're playing the game too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and then it's one of those like when you're playing a game, you don't really think about the NPCs that are in the game. You're just trying to level up yourself.
No,
Right.
yeah. And not only that, but too, like, I remember some games, like, when they would share, like, some of the hacks with everybody, then, like, it becomes boring. It becomes way too easy. And then you're like, then you and your friends are all like, why the hell did we do this? And then you start over again and you try to do it without the cheat codes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see where, like, if some were to, like, somehow find the cheat codes, they'd be like, well, let's not share with everybody. Like, if they do decide to share, they'd probably be like, okay, let's test somebody out to see, like, if they would blab about it or not, or they'll just be like, no, let's just keep it to ourselves. Like, we don't want everyone to get it too easy.
I still
So
think it's suckish. They should still share the cheat codes.
100%. So, okay, but we've talked about maybe the cheat codes is the law of attraction.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I mean, we know a lot about, and we've experienced stuff like energy. What if that's the way to the cheat codes? But I think the bigger question here is, there's two questions actually. One is, if indeed we are living in a simulation, well, then what's out there? What are we?
Mm-hmm.
And the second question is I completely forgot the second question. See, they're erasing my memory right now as we speak.
You all thought it was a medical condition. No, she's just getting her mind erased.
Exactly. Okay, the second question is, what would you do if you were to find out that this was a simulation? But answer the first one first, the first question, which was, if this is a simulation, well then what is going on out there? What do you think? What are your theories on who you are, who I am?
I think it could be like how like in okay, let's say like in Conan or like some like the game I've been playing recently, like how like we showed in the past few ones, Code Vein. Like these are two different universes. Like, oh, what happened if like in Conan, like society grew differently. Like there's magic. There's a way to like because from when we first start Conan, like your character is exiled because of some crimes, you know. And now
Mm-hmm.
you here with a bunch of exiles, trapped, trying to survive and trying to escape. And this is like again a very well for us would be fairly early society, but for them it's advanced because again because they have magic, they have all these different creatures. Like we've met some of the demon rhinoceroses, demon hyenas, these giant ass scorpions, giant talking spiders, and things like that. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, in Code Vein, it's different. It's an apocalyptic event. Something happened where if you actually do kind of look up a little bit of it, it explains that how like during one of the drilling moments, world they somehow accidentally opened up what they would call later on like the gates of hell, but they don't know like how these creatures were in there or how it first started, but somehow they opened up something that pretty much is making a lot of different chaos. Like think of like almost like Pacific Rim, but um, with vampire-ish qualities.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter how many times they kill them, they regenerated almost within 24 hours. And people were dying and everything, and they managed to find what they call these boar parasites to turn people who are dead or had just died again within 24 hours to turn them into these fighting immortal vampires that even if they were killed, as long as their heart wasn't damaged, they too could regenerate and continue to fight in a never-ending battle.
Mm-hmm.
And again, to me, it's just like I think it's just like that. Like if we're in a simulation, then I think they probably want to see like how we develop. Like oh, like if what would happen if like say like this like if we as society went in a different route, we want to see how we would grow, what we do, what things would be different, what things would probably be similar. Then let's see.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like how it would be then in my head. Like that's what's probably what's out there. They just want to see how us as a society were to grow, like say with certain limitations or like a lot more infighting, a lot more population, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
See, and I just feel like we're like Sims, but someone just forgot our save. So they're just kind of letting us be.
They're just letting it run amok.
Yeah, they're like, let's just leave it. Let's see how it goes. Because I mean, how many game saves that we have that we haven't gone and looked at? But when we go back and look at it, things are different.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I think. Just this is a world that they started and then forgot about. And probably now they're over here like, oh, damn, we should probably look at that and then come look and be like, oh, they're still doing their thing. Let's let them be.
Like they're not dead yet. That's fine.
That's what I
Well,
think.
I know that you freaked me out, Noodles, when we were talking about, because we were talking about this, we were joking around, and that's what we were saying. Like, well, what? Okay, so we are. Let's just say, okay, let's accept it. We're in a simulation. But then what? Then what? Are we NPCs? Are we just highly advanced AI? Because there are people that do believe that as well. There's this one TikToker, Alex Serves Tea or Alex Serves, and that's one of her theories. And I really like listening to her because I'm kind of like I find myself nodding the whole time, like yes, yes. And she gives examples of why. So are we just highly advanced AI,
Hmm.
or and then I was telling you like I'm gonna be so pissed if when I die, and it's like you die, but then like you wake up and it's like, and I find out that this was a simulation. Like, oh, what? Because like I lived this whole life, and then you told me the story of Rick and Morty.
Yeah. Do you want to tell it? Do you want me to tell it?
No, you tell it because you're more of
Okay.
the fan of that.
There's there's an episode
Mhm.
of Rick and Morty where Rick goes and pulls Morty into like this whole shenanigan, right? And he's over here like, I need your help, I need your help. And so he gets Morty, he takes him. And it turns out that he takes him to this outer space
Like a station or
no, where they play video games. Arcade.
oh, okay.
It's an outer space arcade that he takes him to, and he's like, I want to just have fun with you, like let's just have fun. And of
Mhm.
course, like Morty's over here, like I have school, like you pull me out of school for this, like what the hell? And Rick ends up putting a helmet on his head, and he's like, here, play this one, it's fun, it's gonna be great. And so what ends up happening is that it's a game, and oh god, I forget the name of the stupid game, but you're
Mhm.
basically playing this boy, and it's like you see this boy like grow up, like he's going to elementary, middle school, high school. He falls in love, he gets married, he takes over like his in-law shop. He um, experiences near-death experience and goes back, and he's like, I want to live life to the fullest. And then he gets offered the position to do again take over the shop, and so he does, and then he passes away. And then when he wakes up, he's like, oh my god, what happened? Like it was Morty. He was just playing a character. And even Rick's over here like, oh, you only got up to like, I think he only got up to like his 40s. And he's like, man, that's so lame.
Oh my
Like I could do so
God.
much better. And then a little bit later on, you see where like Rick is now playing the game, but like he knows it's a game, so this man that he's now playing is like going crazy and like partying and
Mhm.
like doing all these sorts of things, like, and he's even like going off the barrier where the games is supposed to be. Like they were here, like he's going off map. It's it's so stupid, but like Morty was traumatized. Like it took him a minute to remember. Like, wait a minute, I had a wife, I had kids, and he's like, no, you didn't. It was the game. And Morty's just here, like, that's right, it was a game. It's a game. I'm Morty. I'm Morty Smith, and you're Rick, and you dragged me over here to do this. Like, so it turned out that he was like the game is him living someone else's life.
Yeah. So when you told me this, I was like, holy shit, yes, I can see it. So we made a pact that if either one, which I'm hoping it's me, would die first, and we find out that this is a game, we're gonna go in and wake up the other. Like we're
Yeah.
gonna be like, come on out.
Yep. We don't want to play no more. You, if we find out that this is just a game,
Okay,
we
but
need
then
to
here's
wake
a
each
twist
other
for
up.
you then.
What?
Okay.
What if it's like one of those things like how we say like in the Black Mirror? Like how you find out like, oh, it's either retirement or like a medical thing, like you're both one or both of you are brain dead, and then what? Like this is like they're able to shift off some of
Well,
the consciousness that is somewhat active into it.
ooh, I love that theory. What if all of us that are here were actually all brain dead and they
That would
decided to
make a lot
like,
of sense.
yes, like they decided to like, you know what, so that to keep like their brain activity up, let's hook them up to this world.
No,
Oh
I would
my
still be
God.
pissed. I'd be like, pull the plug. I don't wanna. This world is poop.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess it would depend on me, but no, but yeah, I mean, if I made the pact already, I would still do it. You're like, good. I
That's an
mean,
interesting take on it, though.
yeah,
It's very interesting.
because in the Black Mirror, right, San Juniper, I think it's called San Juniper, something like that. They're happy. They know that. See, that's the thing. I think for me is like if I knew for sure, I think things would be different. Like in that case with them, because they never explain their like, do they have money or is everything just free, right? Like they never, because they never talk about money while they're in the simulation.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
So, and then the last part, like, you know how when they, like, the camera zooms out and then you see that it's a lot. Like, that one that they chose is just one of the worlds. But there's many, many other savings, right?
Hmm. Yeah, like they could choose what era they want to be in.
Right. And so I feel like that. I feel like we were to find the cheat codes or we were, for some reason, we were to be able to manipulate the system in that way, that would be great. Which, again, going with my theory with the billionaires, maybe they found that,
Hmm.
you know?
And they don't want to share.
Well, again, we go back to look at, in, this is why I feel like it could be possible, because even the Sims have a game that they play.
Yeah.
So, because people could be like, well, why, we're playing these games. Well, that's not, again, think about how gaming is going to be just 100 years from now, you know, with how much it's already evolved. Now think how it's going to be in 100 years. So I don't think it's too far-fetched to think. And then, like we said, there's the skies. Like, there's so many things
Hmm.
that, I don't know, I would say do point to that. But, okay, so the second part of the question is, what would you do if you were, like, what if right after this podcast, somehow, I don't know, we get a download, or I don't know, we get confirmation that we are in a simulation. What would you do? How do you think you would feel? Or how does that even make you feel, just to think that this could possibly be a simulation?
I would just want to know what the point of it is. Like, am I entertainment for someone? Am I just a side character? Like, what is it?
No, yeah,
Hmm.
And depending on the answer, I'd probably just be like, oh, fuck this shit, I'm out.
I'm tapping out.
yeah, I think similar to Val. Like I would ask like am I sick? Did I die? Did I just download into this for some weird reason, thinking like, oh, I lived in this era, I want to be like in this one instead now, or no, yeah, like how Noodle says, like it's entertainment or whatever, and like yeah, depending what it is, like I may or may not accept it. If anything, I'll definitely be like flipping off the sky every now and then, like fuck you guys. That'd be that weirdo who just randomly flips off the sky and they're like, what the hell are you doing that for? And it's like it's fun. Just do it with me.
Mind
It's
your
for
business.
them.
I mean, come on, like screw it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, this is just for entertainment purposes. Like, we're not saying that that's what it is. I think people could, lose it. It's
Mm.
kind
Definitely.
of the whole thing, like aliens, right? We're not aliens. And there's people who are really deathly afraid of that thought.
No,
We
yeah.
met someone. I know. Do you know who I'm talking about, Noodles?
I don't.
Someone, you don't?
Mm-mm. I'm like,
So, well, I'm not going to say her name, but she was deathly afraid of aliens. Like, just the thought of even us going to Roswell, she would be like, she would freak out. And I would ask her, like, but why? Do you know who I'm talking about now?
yeah, I know who you're talking about.
And I would ask, like, why? Because to me, the possibility of there being alien, which I mean, there are aliens,
It
but
has been confirmed, so
yeah, but like the possibility of like actually seeing one, or them coming, and I don't know, whatever, is so exciting to me. Like, it's amazing. But there are people out there that are deathly afraid of it,
hmm.
Mhm.
So again, this is for entertainment purposes only. But I don't know what I would do, to be honest. I mean, obviously, the first question is like, okay, give me the cheat codes.
Yeah.
I just,
What are the cheat
why?
codes?
Yeah, like, give me the cheat codes so that I don't have pain. Like, why did you choose my character to look like this? I mean, I think those are the questions maybe I would have. I don't know, but I mean, I don't know. I'm not gonna say that I 100% think yes, we're in a simulation, but I feel like there's something there with just everything that goes on.
I 100% believe we are.
Really.
You saw me when I had my little breakdown when I found out about the sky eyes. So
The sky ice was the tipping point for
that was the
noodles.
tipping point for me. Yeah, I was just like, holy shit. Because look, I went to class and I went to for a degree for game development. So I got to see how everything is built behind the scenes. So now taking that information and finding out about the sky ice and apparently water under our fucking ocean that we can't even go past. Like, yeah, that that was it for me. I'm just here like the earth is flat and this is a simulation.
Let's just throw all of that in there.
Yep. And it's just like it would actually make sense why earth would be flat because when you're creating a game, where are you starting? You're starting in a flat surface. It's not round. You can
Hmm.
later on go and make it look like it's round, but at the end of the day it's not. It's flat. So that's just my little yeah.
And then we've talked about, think of Minecraft.
Yeah.
Minecraft has no freaking barriers. Like, that world goes on and on and on and on and on.
Mhm.
So it's not far-fetched. I mean, if we're able to create something like that now, here, you know,
Exactly.
what's your percentage of believing that, Musika?
I tell you, mine's a weird mix. Like again, like there's moments where I do think like, okay, yeah, this could be simulation. Other times I think like, no, like it isn't. But I am also believe that like if I uh like there's some points in my life I feel like if I can see it, touch it, or feel it, or like sense it in a way, then to me it's like okay, then that's real, you know? Because it's true,
Hmm.
like how Noodle says, like how there's certain moments like in our life with our witchcraft and other practicing witches out there, like how like it's so hard for us to explain to others like how so real it is to us because like it's not a physical thing, at least not fully, but like it's more of like a sense for us, and for us to me like that is very real,
Hmm.
and there's just no way for us to me to explain it, and to me it's like if I could sense that it's real, then it's real.
Hmm. I mean, I want to think that if we are in a simulation, maybe it's for our spiritual growth, you
Mm.
know? I guess I want to keep, I would hate to think that we're just a forgotten game somewhere. So I would want to think that maybe if this is a simulation, maybe it's something like that, like you're put in here for your spiritual growth, because where does that come in into the simulation theory? Where does the spiritual connections come in, you know?
Hmm.
But I feel like that could be a topic for the next, maybe another podcast, because we literally could talk about this forever and ever.
We can.
You really can.
But it looks like it's time for us to start wrapping up. But if, like I said, we should maybe think about it in a positive way, because I know that there's people out there that maybe get freaked out with that. And I mean, there's a lot of things that point to it that
Hmm.
yes. So I mean, I don't know. But then there's a lot of things that maybe point to it to no. So I don't know. But I want to thank you, ladies, for joining the podcast, for being here and having me as your guest. No, just kidding.
Excuse me,
Anytime.
I am the main event here, damn it. Understand that.
Well, anywho, no, just kidding.
Oh, fine.
But if you like this content, if you like this type of information, join our Discord, you guys, because we can continue the conversation there.
Hmm.
Hit the like button, follow us, subscribe to us, and all of that jazz. But I am Mita, and I'm here with Musica and Noodles, and we are bluntly talking. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
See you later.